Hello, guys. It's MJ. We're here again. All Things Crunchy, another episode. Super excited about this one. I think I'm super excited about all my episodes, but this one I get to do with my sister. So there, I'm going to bring her up. She's also got Mr. Kai there, my nephew, one of my nephews. Jennifer Kelly, my sister. Hello.
Hi.
I always look through like what, my guests or experts, who they are and everything. And it's like, there's so many things that you are. So I'm going to just let you explain like what you do, because you do a lot of things, which is really cool. And all of them kind of, come together, which is, the way that I'm sure you planned it kind of thing, or maybe you didn't plan it, but it all works together. Um,
Yeah.
and today we're talking about essential oils, which is, I think, really, everybody knows a little bit about them, but everybody that I know wants to always know a little bit more. So hopefully we're going to do that for you today. So I'm going to give it to you, sister, and, just talk a little bit about, what you do these days and all the things that, if anybody out there in LA wants to use your services, how they can get a hold of you.
Awesome. All right. So, well, first of all, this all started when I was pregnant with my oldest son. I had home birth with a midwife who was a nutritionist and a master herbalist, and another midwife who was a homeopath and a Kundalini yogi. So it kind of started my whole journey. I healed so much during my pregnancy and changed my diet, changed my eating, changed everything during my pregnancy, and it really changed my whole life. So after I had my son, I was searching. I really wanted to learn more about all this natural healing stuff, learn more about how to take care of my new family in a really supportive and healthy way. And so I started studying nutrition. I started studying homeopathy. I was introduced to essential oils when he was about 6 months old. So I've been working with the oils for about 17 years now. And
Wow.
it's been a fascinating journey. So currently, Yoga Studio and Wellness Center in Toluca Lake. Sorry, Kai's pushing my little thing here. And I am a nutritional therapist. I do work with essential oils. I do wellness coaching and life coaching. I am also a hypnotherapist, and I teach Kundalini yoga, kids yoga, prenatal, postnatal yoga. You can reach me at the Yogi Tree, which is 818-760-0112, or at the website www.theyogitree.com. So today we're going to talk about essential oils. And I think the most important thing to know about essential oils is the quality really does matter. There's one thing we know how to do well in this country, and that is market. And essential oils have become very popular over the last many years. So you can find them on most store shelves, and they will all say 100% pure essential oils. However, there is no rating system. There is no FDA like monitoring of essential oils. And so what most of those cheap store-bought essential oils are reject oils from Europe that we take and cut with synthetics, and then
Okay.
find a small amount of there in those oils because there is a trace of in there, but you're probably not going to looking to really heal or do some with essential oils. You're probably not going to find the benefits you're looking for just picking up an oil off any shelf in the market.
The video cut out just a little bit there. So just to kind of recap, you're basically saying that it kind of cut out after you were talking about that they're coming from Europe. So just kind of recapping, basically, we can find them
Sure.
anywhere out there, and they're going to say that they're 100% pure, but really, it's nothing that's going to be any type of healing that's going to go on with those type of oils.
Well, the problem is that there's a trace amount of the original oil in those oils, but majority of it is going to be cut with synthetics, and you can tell because when you smell that oil, it's a very strong scent. Her therapeutic grade essential is much lighter, much milder. It doesn't stick around much oil does, kind of like whereas an essential oil, if you're wearing an essential oil, you smell the scent initially when you put it on, but it really fades rather quickly. That doesn't mean it's not still there and it's not still working, but it's the nature of a pure oil.
Okay.
So yes,
so kind of like it's more for the smell, maybe, when you're, it's, there's not really a lot that other than maybe enjoying the smell.
Correct. And I would not use those oils, topically or
ingest, yeah,
any other way than just, like smelling it in the air. And really even that is not super great because it is a chemical scent that you're taking in. So
yeah.
We're open here and Kai is trying to type on my computer. Anyway, so the quality really does matter. So what you want to look for is a therapeutic grade essential oil. And it's a little tricky because they're not really labeled that way. Some of the top leaders in the market are really trying to work on a grading system and try to get an FDA of essential oils so that we can have ratings like therapeutic, aromatherapy only, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, awesome.
So some of the top brands that I know of that are operating therapeutically would be Young Living is the top of my list. That was the first brand that I was introduced to when my oldest son was 6 months old. He's now 17 and a half and starting college. So, and he's grown up on oils. And when he was little, used to call them his magic oils, which was really fun. But I know Floricopia is a really nice brand. Floricopia, they also sort of bring in that idea of Ayurveda, the way that they blend their oils, and they are a really clean company. A lot of people are into doTERRA these days, which is a spin-off of Young Living, and I am not super familiar with them, but I have heard people are having good results with it. And there's another brand that's here local. It's up in Camarillo. I think she calls them, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name of the brand, but it's a woman who wild crafts oils, and she blesses them and prays over them and really takes great care to make quality oils. So if anybody is interested in that information, I'll send it to MJ to put in the notes, or or you can email me or something. But I forgot the name. But those would be sort of the tops I would look at. And really, when you're going to use an essential oil for healing benefits, you really need to look at that company, how they're being manufactured, where they're being grown. Are they organic, or are they being grown in a way that's not using a lot of pesticides, or a lot of them will not say organic. More often the term will be wild crafted. So,
what is it again? Wild crafted.
Will not say organic.
Yeah.
More often they'll say wild crafted.
Wild crafted. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's really good to know about the quality because I think that it is if you're trying to get the healing and the any type of physical, emotional, and spiritual healing, then might as well have the good quality. Even though it is definitely more expensive, but in the end, what are you going to
But you
do?
also don't need a lot. So your oils will last a long time. You know, I mean, it's kind of, it's like any investment in your health. If you put the quality in, you get the quality out. So you don't need a lot to receive the same benefits you would trying to use a cut oil. You're going to need more and more and more because it just doesn't have the chemical compounds in there that you need to get the effect you want to have.
Right.
So, and one of the things the other thing that's important to know is how an essential oil actually works. So when we take the sap from a tree, or we pull the essence out of rose petals, or we get the, you know, like if you've ever scraped the skin of a citrus fruit and that oil that sparks out, that's where we get citrus oils from. So when we extract the blood of the plant, which is what an essential oil really is, it's that life essence in a plant. We use it in a dry form in herbs. We use it in tinctures and stuff like that. But when we use it in a pure therapeutic grade essential oil, it's the most potent, most powerful form of the healing compounds of a plant. So what you want to do is you want to distill that properly so you're not destroying those compounds. And then what happens is plant works on a megahertz frequency that is very consistent with our body's frequency. So it's not the same as like a light megahertz frequency, like you know, you hear it talked about in patterns of light a lot, megahertz frequency, but that pattern is very erratic. The pattern of our body is very consistent. It's a very smooth megahertz frequency, and similar with essential oils when they're made properly. So what happens is there's a frequency for everything in your body. There's a frequency for health. There's a frequency for death. There's a frequency when you drink coffee. There's a frequency when you have a cold or a flu. There's a frequency when you're happy and you're joyful. There's a frequency when you're sad. So when we talk about how healing with essential oils works, it's because we match a frequency of an oil to our body to create the frequency in our body we want to have.
Yeah.
So because we have a megahertz frequency to our physical health, our emotional health, and our spiritual health, we have essential oils out there that can bring in the healing in all three areas.
Yeah.
So for example, if we have a virus in our body, or we're challenged with allergies, lavender oil is amazing. It's an antiviral, and it also acts as a natural antihistamine. So lavender you would bring in for a lot of physical healing, right? Another one, peppermint oil. It reduces fevers. It's very highly antiviral, and it also is really great for any kind of digestive disturbances, and works great for hot flashes, ladies going through menopause. So it's like one of my favorite remedies for people with menopause.
Yeah, that one you just carry around with you all the time. I mean, I do. Peppermint. I mean, it's I there's always somebody that ends up needing to use it. So.
It's really good for clearing out sinuses. It's fantastic. So, but anyway, that's another oil that we would really reach for when we're talking about physical healing. So it has the frequency of health in it. It has the frequency that can wipe out viruses. It has a frequency that can just really restore balance to the digestive tract and create a lot of physical well-being, right?
Yeah. So, and I know that these oils, like a lot of them are just diffusing oils. But, you know, I know peppermint we can ingest. And so, you know, there's different ways that you can use these oils. But like for, you know, say if you did have, you know, for your, well, actually peppermint, you can't use, there's a certain age on kids really for.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that in just a moment, some of the safety stuff, but so what I just wanted to say was then because there are there's a megahertz frequency to our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
There are several oils that we can use emotionally. So we can also use lavender for calming. Young Living makes a blend called Peace and Calming, and it has lavender in it. It has tangerine. It has enzy in it. So these are all oils that create a sense of calmness and balance in our bodies. Any of the citrus oils are mood elevating. They have a frequency of mood elevation. So they can be used for depression. They can be used for sorrow, things like that, right? And then if you look at frankincense and rose oil, those have some of the highest megahertz frequencies of all oils. So they're extremely healing on every level, including spiritually.
Mm.
And if you look historically, it's frankincense that is burned in mosques and churches to bring about spiritual wellness or spiritual elevation. So we also, have many different oils in the essential oil arsenal that can bring about spiritual healing as well.
Yeah.
Things like myrrh, frankincense, spikenard, and these are all biblical oils. They go back to biblical times and actually even beyond. You can look at Egyptian texts, old ancient Egyptian texts, and they used essential oils that was their form of medicine, actually. So it was our original medicine. Most of the synthetic drugs we have on the market are they're synthetic forms of these essential oil blends or compounds rather. And so now we're just coming back to our lost art, and more and more companies are coming on the market and bringing essential oils into the market. And that's why it's really important to understand that the quality is really what matters if you're really looking to use essential oils as a form of healing. In my family, my children have grown up with essential oils and homeopathy and whole food nutrition. So they've never taken over-the-counter medications. I think maybe one time in my son's 17 and a half years, he had an antibiotic once, maybe. My other kids, I don't think I've ever even had them because I've become more skilled over the years. So, early on when Cody was little, I was learning, and, sometimes I didn't always trust my ability to be able to heal him. So, he's probably had maybe a little bit more medical intervention than the rest of them, but even his has been extremely minimal because, first of all, he's rarely ever sick. And second of all, I've been able to handle everything in the family with essential oils or homeopathies or herbs.
What do you use then when you go to, like you just talked about how you didn't trust yourself as a mom. So what do you recommend that moms use out there to try to figure out what oils to use when they have ailments for themselves or their families?
Well, there's two things. One is you find somebody who is a little beyond where you are, who has had experience with the essential oils and can share their experience with you. Two is there's a fantastic testimonial site that Young Living has where you can go in and search any kind of ailments. You can look and see what other people have done, and they'll put in full protocols. So that's fantastic. The third thing is Gary Young, who started Young Living Essential Oils. And as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, he's a leader in the industry. He's really studied all over the world. He's traveled all over the world and really gained a lot of valuable knowledge in not only how to grow the plants, but also how to distill them to really maintain that therapeutic quality that we were talking about. And if you're going to, we'll talk about this a little bit in safety, but it's the only brand that I ever recommend people ingesting internally because I know the quality. So, but he created this book called The Essential Desk Reference Guide for Essential Oils, which you can get on Amazon, and you can also get it, I think it's called Essential Science Publishing is the other place you can get it. But if you Google Essential Desk Reference Guide for Essential Oils by Gary Young, that's a fantastic book because it has all the information we were talking about as far as quality and therapeutics. It also breaks down every single oil and what their therapeutic qualities are, what the history of the oil is, all the essential oil blends that he's created. It talks about how to use them in your ears, how to use them on your feet, how to use them safely. It also has, I don't know, like 100 pages or so on ailments, like any ailment you can think of. And you go to that ailment, it'll tell you what oils to use and even give you often recipes to create your own oils for different things. So that's actually how I learned. Was that and experimenting on my guinea pig family, and thank God it's never turned out bad. But well, that's why I say I mean, for me, Young Living is the best because I have used it on my family throughout the years, and we've only ever had positive things happen. So
you know, it's like the, you know, the things that I've learned just being a mom, like I'd rather buy quality in the end. It always is better, lasts longer, you know, is better for us. So I've kind of learned that over time. But so let's talk about how to use them safely, because, you know, with a lot of the viewers that I have as moms with children, and, you know, a lot of the things that we deal with that we want to use the oils, they usually have some sort of like an age range. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So with children, very young children under 3, you want to be mindful about using essential oils on them. So mentholated oils like wintergreen, peppermint, even eucalyptus, some eucalyptuses, you never use them directly around their chest area. You can safely use them on their feet, but they need to be cut with a carrier oil. So a carrier oil could be olive oil, it could be almond oil, coconut oil, something like that. And when you're working with children, you need a very little bit, like 1 drop, half a drop. You would rub it on your hands and then rub it on your child. Like, their bodies are so ready, willing, and able to heal that we just need to support them very gently. So a little goes a long way. That's probably the biggest mistake I have made, you know, when I started out and my kids were young, was using too much oil. But even that, you know, never really caused a horrible reaction. But actually, it never caused a bad reaction at all, but except for some of the oils heat up. So like those mentholated oils will feel kind of hot. A cinnamon, a clove, they're called hot oils. So those you always want to use cut with a carrier oil. Like, I had heard that you could use thieves for teething, which you absolutely can. But being inexperienced, when I was first introduced to the oils, I took a drop of thieves and put it on my son's gum, and it is very hot. So it heated up, and he got really upset because it feels like it's on fire. But it actually, the clove then numbs everything. So very quickly he calmed down and everything was fine. But then I realized, I should have really cut that with some coconut oil. So if you're going to make a teething blend for your toddler or infant, you want to take mostly coconut oil with a drop or 2 of thieves. And then it actually makes a really nice teething thing for them. So
well, and it's, you know, that's really awesome that you mentioned too about just putting it on the feet, because from what I know, the feet, there's everything on our feet kind of, and our hands too, kind of corresponds to parts in our bodies. So for children,
all the reflexology points.
Awesome.
So you can hit every part of the body just by rubbing an oil on the feet or on the palms of the hands. I don't recommend hands at all for children because they are always sticking them in their mouth. And so then they're going to get it, or touching their face and their eyes. And that's another important safety note. You do not want to get essential oils in your eyes because they will react with the eye. It's not going to harm the eye, but it's not comfortable. And it is an oil. So the first thing that most people do is they want to reach and put water on the eye because they got something in the eye and you think you want to flush it out. But this is an oil. Oil doesn't mix with water. You're going to have a problem if you throw water on, and especially if it's a hot oil like a peppermint or a clove or cinnamon, it's actually going to make it hotter. So what you really need to do is take one of your carrier oils, like your coconut oil, your almond oil, or your olive oil, and that's what you need to rub in the eye to dilute it and get the oil out.
So just quick story. A long time ago, I took a yoga class, and the lady at the end comes around and she puts essential oils on. She puts it over she dropped a drop of lavender oil right in my eye.
Oh no.
And it hurt so bad. But I think I did put water in it, but this is like 10, 20, I don't know, a long time ago, years ago. But so I should have just put a bunch of coconut oil in my eye. Okay.
Because it cuts it, dilutes it, and it will knock it out a lot faster. But so that's an important one. Another safety thing is
now we just call it the lavender eye. That's what we call it now.
Eye. There you go.
Okay.
Luckily, lavender is not one of those hot oils because it's really unpleasant if it's a hot oil.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then you want to, first thing is with kids, you use mainly the feet, and mentholated oils very, very sparingly, but you can use them on the feet diluted. It's a good idea to dilute most oils for kids. Lavender is probably one that you don't necessarily have to, but it's just, their bodies are very much more sensitive than ours. So it's a good idea to dilute for kids. Also, we talked about the eyes, keeping away from the eyes because that's not pleasant. And then the other thing that you want to do with essential oils is if you're not sure of the quality, if you are not using one of the brands that I mentioned, I would never try to internally ingest it, and be very cautious about putting it on your skin, because that's another thing. Synthetically cut oils could irritate the skin and potentially be harmful. They can be toxic. So I would just, if you're going to use those, just, use them aromatherapy, like in the air or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
I generally don't recommend using them at all, but if that's what you're going to do, then, just use them in your air.
Okay.
But when we're talking about sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you know what? Just because there's a website out there that I know a lot of moms pass along to each other that actually have like age ranges for using some oils. So do you kind of not believe that there's a certain age for kids to use certain oils, and just kind of being safe on where you're putting it on and how much you're putting it on?
Well, in a lot of my experience and a lot of the studies I've done with Gary Young, the mentholated oils are the ones that you need to be most mindful of when you're working with young children. And because his oils are so pure, I found it to be okay to use most oils on little kids, as long as you're being mindful about how much you're putting on and where you're putting it. So, but again, with little kids, you're going to use it for things like calming them. You know what I mean? So in a very, very young baby, like a newborn baby, say your baby's colicky, and then just hold the baby. You don't actually even have to put it on their body, because the olfactory nerve, which is the sense of smell, is one of the fastest ways to affect the body. So that's will work really well if a new mom wears the oil and then holds her baby.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, and that's good to know, because as moms, especially when we have little babies, we just want to make them better, like quick. So we don't. Sometimes we're not thinking, but like so in the mind frame of just like, okay, real little babies, like you don't really want to use oils on them for
I would say the only time you would really need to use an oil on a newborn baby is if they had something very severe or serious going on.
Okay.
Like let's say they had a crazy rash outbreak. So then I would take mainly coconut oil, because coconut oil is very antibacterial in itself.
Right.
So I would take coconut oil and maybe put a drop of lavender in there, because lavender is fantastic for the skin. So, or like maybe your baby has severe eczema. I would use that on a newborn baby. But like I said, it's like just a drop of lavender in, you know, maybe a quarter cup of coconut oil.
Right,
You know, so you're
right.
getting the essence of the lavender to help clear up that eczema, but you're not soaking them in lavender.
Yeah, and you're
So,
able to use it for like a, you know, a while too. You have a little batch
yeah.
made up. So
Yeah, because a small baby, and then you need to address food issues, because usually
yeah.
if they're getting eczema or asthma or things like that, there's a food component, but that's
Yeah.
a whole nother talk.
I
So
know.
let's see. In safety data though, let's see, there's you know, so I just say with children, you know, it's like you really need to use a lot of common sense and use those really pure oils.
Yeah.
Another safety data thing that's really important to know is when you're using sensitive areas of the body, like say the groin area or under your armpits or some kind of sensitive area of the body, you want to always dilute that oil with a carrier oil to avoid discomfort.
Yeah.
Most of the oils keep for a very long time, especially if you keep them in a dark, dry place that's not too hot. I mean, they can keep for many years, so there shouldn't be an issue with your oil going bad. What else do you need to really know about safety?
Just,
We talked about around the eyes, and also if you are going to take essential oils internally, like let's say you have a flu or something like that, that's another place where you only use a drop or two. You can put them in a gel cap, you can put it on a little piece of bread or in some honey, something like that, and take it internally. So
awesome.
But again, that has to be a very pure non-synthetic therapeutic grade essential oil. Otherwise, do not even consider doing anything internally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
sweet.
There's so
much
you can do. There's so many.
I know. I mean, we might have to just do another show, like a spin-off, because I actually was jotting down some notes here and just like, you know, have like little, you know, things that I kind of want to poke at down the line.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll have to do another show soon.
Well, you could do like a series of different kinds of health ailments and then how to address them with essential oils. You know what I mean?
Because that's a good
but that's
one.
why I was thinking for this one, it's just a good idea to know the basics, you know, how they work. Quality is so important, and then just some really important safety guidelines for using them.
Yeah, because, you know, one of the things too that I've learned is that not everybody has the budget, you know, to do certain things. So if, you know, it's kind of like buying the dirty dozen, you know, you want to buy organic, but maybe, you know, sometimes you're going to have to kind of fudge a little bit. So while everybody, it would be great if we could all, you know, do the amazing oils out there. Sometimes if we're not going to ingest one, maybe some people can't afford, you know, to do that. And I'm glad that we gave, you know, some other ways to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's end here, sister. Thank you so much. I'm glad that this worked out. And when we'll have to talk about maybe another show to talk about maybe some ailments, because I think that would be fun just to kind of like dig in that way. So so then here's the website again for Jen, the yogitree.com. Check her out. If you're in LA, go and check out the studio. Like we were talking in the beginning of the show, Post-Partum Doula. She actually, we need to like.
I forgot to put that in there.
Oh yeah, I
didn't say that.
So yeah, Post-Partum Doula. So gosh, yoga instructor, nutritional. I don't know. We'll have to start the show over, but Post-Partum Doula wasn't in there, so we add that in. All right, sister. Well, I love you and I hope to see you soon. And thank you so much for being on the show today.
And thanks for having me. So
Yeah.
nice to spend some time with y'all. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right.